Now, what I want to do now is I want to go and introduce someone that I have the utmost respect for. They have absolutely, without question, not only helped me personally go out and do something special, but they have absolutely just put this business and this whole concept, everything we are doing, is a brainchild from the individual I'm about to bring on. And I love the fact that they didn't grow up with a silver spoon, but when they had an opportunity to make big money, they went out and he decided to share that with others. And he decided to make it possible where you could have a business doing this and bringing this all together so we could have true financial literacy, but make it real so the experts do all the work. And that's none other than our CEO and great founder of MWR Financial. That's Mr. Brian House. Brian, are you on the call with us?
And Damo, I'm with you. Can you hear me okay, buddy?
I can hear you perfectly.
Well, and listen, thank you so much for all those kind of things you just said about me. I'm about like you. I wish my wife was here to have heard that. But I want to start out tonight. And, Dom, if you would, stick around because I'm probably going to go to you a little bit because I'd like for you to talk a little bit about the crusade when it comes to what we're doing with two strategies that we're going to cover tonight, which, guys, is our CreditMAX credit restoration strategy as well as our EquityMAX debt elimination strategy. And with our CreditMAX program, I'm going to give you a little background on it before we actually get into the service itself and what it can do for you or for the customers that you introduce to MWR Financial or our Financial Edge membership. But this company has actually been around since 1993. That's when I started in the credit restoration industry. It was one of the first businesses I ever started. It was a company called QCS Inc. or QCS Online Inc., which we DBA'd as Quality Credit Services. With that company, we built a business to where we had 13 offices throughout the United States. They were franchises that we set up where people paid anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000 to be able to market to a specific demographic marketing area our services, our credit restoration services. And through that process, over about 10, 15 years, we did that model, and then we decided to introduce it to the network marketing industry as a way to be able to reach the masses. But one of the things that we noticed, and the reason we did this, we partnered with a company that offered some similar services, not quite the same as what we have, but they help people with debt and they help people with financial advice, and they did some things that we realized were necessary for people because a lot of times in the credit restoration industry, we realized if we help somebody straighten out their past credit history, all we did was really create a Band-Aid for them. We really didn't put them into a position to win financially. We just straightened out their credit, and without the financial knowledge or literacy that they needed, most people would just go out and repeat the process. They would go out, accumulate more debt, mess their credit up again, and then we would have a repeat client. Well, that wasn't the purpose of what we were doing with credit restoration. Our goal here, too, just so you know, is a little bit different than most companies out there. Our focus is not on helping our members restore their credit so that they can go out and get further in debt. Our credit restoration program is designed to help you create more cash flow, meaning that we want to help you get your credit scores as high as possible so that we can help you lower your interest rates, your down payments, your car insurance premiums, all the things that are affected by a credit score. And so I wanted to share that with you real quick. Now, the other thing I'll tell you is the reason I got in this industry, and Damo said it, I wasn't born with a silver spoon in my mouth, but the reason I got into this industry is I was 21 years old. My wife and I were, at the time, were trying to buy a house. And because when I was in college, I ended up getting a bunch of credit cards, and some of you can relate to this. I was a dead broke college student that got a credit card, and all of a sudden it was like, hey, guys, we can go out tonight, but I have no clue how I'm going to pay this back. And so I ended up getting into some credit challenges. And lo and behold, I got out of school, ended up working for my father at an engineering firm, and turned around and went to try to buy a house. And I couldn't buy the house because when I went, I needed an FHA loan because I didn't have a huge down payment at the time. So I needed something that was going to give me a low down payment. And the loan officer looked at my credit score and he said, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to help you. And so I said, well, what do I do? So he referred me to a credit counseling company. Well, that credit counseling company couldn't help me because I had actually paid off my debts. I had them all paid off, but I still had all those late pays and a few little collections and things like that were holding me back. So I ended up doing some research, and I went back to the guy at the credit counseling company, and this is a long story. I'm trying to keep it short, but ended up he referred me to a gentleman that did credit restoration, and we became good friends. I bought into his company. He straightened me out, got my credit scores back up. He had developed his own system, and then turned around, and I went back to the same mortgage company that denied me, and they approved me. And in the meantime, all of my friends at work were saying, hey, if this works for you, please let me know. Please let me know because I could use some help too. And so because of that, I bought into his company, ended up working with him as an apprentice, learning the system, helping develop out some new systems, and turned around. Make a long story short, we separated. I opened another office we were partners on. I ended up buying him out, and I've been in the credit restoration industry ever since. Now, I know that was a long story, and that doesn't have a whole lot to do with what we're doing tonight, but there were a few things that happened in that process. I got extremely excited about what I was doing, and I was able to help a whole lot of people, but then this law came out. It was called the Credit Repair Organizations Act. It was the actual law that was put into place to eliminate a lot of the credit restoration companies out there. That law was actually lobbied by the credit bureaus and creditors to be put into place in order for it to eliminate a lot of credit restoration companies. Well, it was a very hard law to comply with. It still is a very hard law to comply with. And but what happened was, because of the growth of my company, because we had expanded, had 13 offices throughout the United States, unlike a lot of smaller credit restoration companies, I hired a company called Greenbaum, Dole & McDonald. It was a big national law firm. We were doing extremely well, helping hundreds and even thousands at some points clients per month. And so that was my livelihood. I wanted to be able to continue that. Well, they helped us get into compliance. Well, during that time period, because there were so many predatory attorneys out there that were actually looking for successful companies in this industry because they knew it was so hard to comply with, we actually became a party to a class action lawsuit. We were actually sued. And so what we did, they didn't realize that we had done what it takes to be in compliance. And so as far as I know, we are the only company in history that I know of that has ever won a class action lawsuit in federal court in regards to compliance to the Credit Repair Organizations Act. Federal Judge Joseph M. Hood out of Michigan Federal Court actually signed off as to our compliance to the Credit Repair Organizations Act, our process, as well as our contracting, and that gave us court precedence, guys. It set us apart from anybody else in the credit restoration industry because we didn't just say we do things the right way, we actually proved it in federal court, and so we're extremely proud of that. And so I wanted to give you a little background, a little history on CreditMAX because I think it's important. There's a lot of skepticism when it comes to the credit restoration industry, and I say this all the time, and I don't mean this in a bad way because there are very good credit restoration companies out there, but there's also a lot of the fly-by-night credit restoration companies, the people you see with their little signs on the telephone poles and their signs on the side of the road and stuff that may not be doing things exactly the right way. They've gotten their credit straightened out and think that they can go do it for somebody else without trying to comply with the laws. And so, which is why that law was put into place. It was to eliminate that process and also putting consumers at risk. And so here's what I want you to understand. I'm going to go through CreditMAX, but I want you to also know that our credit restoration program is not designed to help you beat the system. It is not designed to help you beat the system. It's designed to help you exercise your rights under the laws that have been put into place to protect you as a consumer, okay? And specifically, those laws are the Fair and Accurate Credit Transactions Act, or the FACTA Act, as well as the Fair Credit Reporting Act. And what we do is there's a segment in those laws in the Fair Credit Reporting Act, I think it's Section 168 LI, that says any information on a consumer's credit file that's not 100% accurate, anything that's misleading, outdated, obsolete, or that can no longer be verified within a reasonable amount of time, which is approximately 30 working days. And notice I said working days, which is very important. A lot of people, when we say that, they think we mean just 30 days. But in reality, 30 working days is what the bureaus have to respond to our disputes that we submit on your behalf. And that 30 working days is actually 45 real days, or a total of up to 6 weeks, okay? So it beats the heck out of 7 to 10 years, which is what you wait if you don't do something. But our process overall typically takes anywhere between 2 to 8 months for the average client, depending on how many items they have and how many rounds of processing we do. But with that law, what we do is we question the validity, the accuracy, and the ownership of your accounts with each one of the credit reporting agencies. So you're basically signing over the authority for us to handle this on your behalf. Again, we do all the work for you. Unlike companies that maybe send out letters or whatever, you're agreeing to an LPOA, a limited power of attorney, for us to handle this in your behalf, okay? Now, with utilizing this program, you're going to experience, in most cases, results do vary, obviously. Each client is different, but our average credit score increase is anywhere between 50 to 150 points or more, obviously depending on where you start at. Now, we also have a credit rebuilding center, and I'm going to show you this here in just a second. I'm going to pull up the site, show you how you can access those things very quickly. We're not going to go into a lot of detail, but I want to show you where you can go, and it'll give you all the other information you need. We have over 25 plus years of experience. I've already talked about that. We've serviced over 100,000 satisfied clients with a spotless record with the Better Business Bureau, which I think is pretty much unheard of in this industry. Now, by utilizing this program, here's what you're going to get with it. You're going to get access to free credit reports. So we give you an option to be able to obtain free credit reports through annualcreditreports.com. So you can do that. So when you're enrolling, we have a simple 4-step enrollment process. The first step in that is you're going to listen to a consultation. When you click on the Enroll Now button, that I'm going to show you in just a second, you're going to listen to a brief consultation. It'll explain everything we're responsible for as well as what you're responsible for, which mainly boils down to just making sure that anything you get from the credit bureaus as a result of the work that we're doing for you, that you upload it into your customer portal that we provide to you, which automatically goes to our processors and analysts that will analyze your reports. They'll be able to determine what needs to be addressed next, and they do all the work for you. Now, I tell you that, too, to let you know that once you implement this system, that 4-step process, you really don't need to call us. You don't need to email. You don't need to do anything. If you got a specific question or you want to know something, please feel free to use our online support, our support at mwrfinancial.com, or you can even email directly to CreditMAX at mwrfinancial.com. Our chat feature on our site, I'll show you that in just a second. But literally, once we get the reports, we know exactly what to do. Now, if there's an item that you do not want us to dispute, that's what you would need to tell us. Otherwise, you're authorizing us to dispute anything that is derogatory on your credit report with each of the reporting agencies to question the validity, the accuracy, and the ownership of those accounts. And if those bureaus are not able to verify, or the creditor is not able to verify the information that they're reporting about you or prove it to be accurate, then that information has to be deleted or corrected on your credit file. Well, obviously, each item we get deleted or corrected can potentially add more points to your credit score, okay? So I'm going to ask you just trust that we will do the work for you. And if we have any questions for you, we will reach out via email or a phone call. We will let you know. But our staff is very proficient at what they do. They've been doing this a long time, and everything we do is personalized, which is another thing that's mentioned here, personalized disputes to all three bureaus. We don't use formatted, templated letters. We realize every consumer is different. We dispute on your behalf. So when we do that, we want to address those accounts individually based on you. And so not just doing a templated letter. All right, so we want to personalize it to where it's more coming from you than it is coming from us. Okay, now, we also have with our credit rebuilding services the ability to help you establish or reestablish your credit. With our installment credit, we have a way for you to obtain lines of installment credit, revolving credit. We can even help you with rent reporting, which is a big plus these days. That one service typically adds an average of about 29 points to a consumer's credit score in about 30 to 60 days. So that's phenomenal. I already told you we have online chat, email, and phone support, and we have an online portal to upload your credit reports. Now, if you want a little bit more detailed monitoring or real-time monitoring when it comes to your credit reports, you can actually enroll for MWRSmartCredit.com. Now, this is an additional fee on top of your membership. Everything I just talked about is included in your Financial Edge membership. But if you enroll for MWRSmartCredit.com, you're going to get real-time alerts. It's going to, excuse me, guys, it's going to give you access to all three of your credit reports with your credit scores. And I'm going to show you some examples here in a second of what it sends you, letting you know when your scores increased or when a change has been made, those type of things. But this is an incredible service, and the great thing about it is that for Financial Edge members, instead of having to pay $29.95 per month for that service, because of the volume of business that we provide and what we do with them as far as a partner, we're able to offer that for $19.95 a month. And I'm going to tell you, everybody that has it loves it. It's phenomenal. There's a lot of things that it does. Also gives you alerts like you plug in your credit cards and things like that. It'll let you know when a transaction's made, which is great because if someone ever stole your credit cards or anything, when you get that alert, you have the ability to swipe left if it's yours and right if it's not, and it'll automatically dispute it with your creditor. So that you're not responsible for that charge. Some great features in there. I highly recommend you check it out. Whether you use it or not, you may find something there that can be extremely beneficial to you, and we love being partnered with this company. They do a phenomenal job. So that's MWRSmartCredit.com. Now, let me give you an example here real quick, and then we'll move on. And guys, this may go a little bit longer than normal. I hope it does, and I take that back. It's only 9:08, so we're going to be in pretty good shape. But with our credit restoration strategy, I'll give you a few examples here. Between a mortgage, car loans, auto and homeowners insurance, if you started in the low 600s and you have a mortgage at 7.5%, compared to being at 700 plus, where it could drop down to as low as 3.99% or maybe even lower, that's a monthly savings on that mortgage of about $334 per month. Now, these are based on national averages, okay, average of the average American consumer, so to speak. And I'm going to give you an example of the average American consumer here in just a second with our EquityMAX program. But on your car loans, a 600 score compared to a 700 plus score, if you had 9.5% compared to 6.5%, $375 a month, and drop it down to $285 per month. You can see the examples. I don't need to go into great detail on that. But this is the average consumer out there, because you got to realize almost 83% of the American population, 83% is, and this is USA Today statistics, not mine, but 83% of the American population has enough negative information on their credit file to keep them from obtaining normal financing, meaning they're paying higher interest rates, higher down payments, or they're not qualifying for lending at all, okay? And so what we want to do is help those people, help people that need this program get their credit scores back into the best shape possible so we can help them increase their monthly cash flow, lower their expenses, and put more money in their pocket that they can use to save or invest or do the right things financially. Now, there's a lot of things that go along with credit and debt, and we're going to talk some more about debt. But, Dom, listen, I don't want to take a lot of time because we got more to cover, but is there anything you want to add to the credit piece that you think would be beneficial before I move on?
No, I just, knowing that people and the challenges that they have were really not set up. It was not really their fault. They were kind of put in this position with the credit reporting agencies. But what I love is the fact that in reality, everything on your credit, because the credit reporting agencies never took the time when they could have done it for very inexpensively when the average person only had 2 lines of credit, because credit cards are really for the rich. And this is way back in the early 70s. So when they didn't do that and they didn't make those changes, they decided, well, who's going to really monitor it? We have a relationship with American Express and Visa and MasterCard and all those kinds of things. So we'll just keep everything moving the way it is. And then all of a sudden you have the credit explosion where now today the average person has 17 lines of credit, and there are millions of data entries happening every single day. And here's what most people don't realize. Credit reporting agencies don't care if you have good credit or bad credit. They don't care. See, they sell our information, which is the largest income producing or generating revenue source they have, is selling our information. So if you had good credit and you were in the good credit scores and you all of a sudden went to bad credit, well, they have new information to sell. You become a new prospect to all the people that want to market to people with bad credit. And then if you get those Capital Ones and all that kind of stuff. Then if you go from bad credit to good credit, so bad credit scores to good credit scores, well, they have new information to sell. But what they do is they have to put you through a bunch of things so they can still try to seem like they've done the right thing when they never did. Do you realize that if you notice what Mr. House said, that you can have, they only dispute the negative items, because in reality there's nothing on your credit report that's accurate, even the good stuff. So you could actually have your credit report completely clean, but no one wants that because it's not to your benefit. So they separate the good from the bad and only focus on the negative items. That's what's so powerful about what our service does for people, and they start realizing, well, wait a minute, this is how it's all set up, okay. And then as long as we just kind of stay out of the way and we don't put ourselves in harm's way, and what I love about our system, it protects us from ourselves. So we don't say, well, I had that bankruptcy, or I was 30 days late, and then all of a sudden now you can't be helped anymore. The experts do all the work, talk for us. So that's just like an attorney says, don't say anything, I'll do it all for you, and they're talking for you. It's the same sort of concept. And I love that we have that situation. So, Brian, I'm going to turn it back over to you. I get excited when I start hearing just about our different services and how evolved they are, how involved they are, and how impactful they are.
Yeah, no, hey, thanks, Tom. I appreciate that. And I do want to say one thing, because you touched on something, and I think this is important. Guys, I've already told you what this strategy is designed to do, especially in our membership, what our focus is for you to help you do better financially. But I want you to know something. The reason there's such a challenge out there right now with credit is because people have used credit to finance a lifestyle. That's what they've done. Okay, and what they're doing is they're supplementing. We're not going to go into our instant pay raise strategy and the fact that, we have the masses, the majority of the population living paycheck to paycheck, and the reason for that is where they start at. They start by overpaying on their taxes. And when you overpay on your taxes and you give that money to the government all year long to use interest-free, then you have to have a way to supplement for that 30+% that you're giving away. Well, what do you use to do that? All of a sudden you're short, and so you think, well, I'm going to put dinner for my wife and me or my spouse and I on a credit card tonight. And that dinner, you're going to pay on it for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years interest, okay, that you could have used in your household if you would have kept that money. So we want to help you avoid overpaying on your taxes so that you don't have to use credit to finance a lifestyle, which is what creates the next problem that we're going to solve through our EquityMAX program in just a second. But guys, a lot of you are probably wondering, well, what's the success people are having with this program? I'll give you an example of every average credit score increase of 50 to 150 points. Let's take a look at some examples of success, and I'm going to go through these quickly. You guys can tell I'm talking fast because we got a lot of information I want to share with you. But here's an example, and Timothy here, 150-point increase. Matter of fact, we got this in yesterday, tracking alerts as October 10th. So he started on May 15th, 150-point increase, and that's just on one round of processing with the credit reporting agencies. Guys, that's huge. Then we've got Shanae and William and Sean, 49-point increase, 38-point increase, 31-point increase. Then we have Monica with 59-point increase. Then we've got Jaslyn, 44-point increase on one of her rounds. Watson, 59%. Jaslyn, another 63 points on another round of processing that we did for her. I think I already covered them. David Reed, 128 points. I know David personally, so he didn't mind me using his full name on here. So thank you, David. And then Timothy Ryan Hayton, he knows us too. He posted his testimony all over the place. 140-point increase on his credit score. So guys, that'll give you an example of the success that we're having. And I'm gonna actually back out of this a second, and I'm gonna go to show you something else. This is not part of what I was planning on doing with this training, but guys, we have our new MWR Financial Testimonials page that we launched this last weekend. Go on here and check out the testimonies that are in regards to credit, our instant pay raise. Here's one from Dr. Valeria Sistari. And one of the rounds, or the work we're doing for her, she's went from 414 on one bureau to 524, 421 on a bureau to 613, okay? And she tells her story there a little bit. She's a doctor, but doesn't mean doctors can't have circumstances of life that create problems. And hers was health-related, and she's overcame that, and she's also overcoming her credit challenges thanks to CreditMAX. But check out the videos that are here, or the video from Connie Houlihan, our first district manager. You can see her testimony here. CreditMAX has produced significant results in a very short period of time. Listen to these stories, not just what I'm showing you or telling you. The proof is what people are saying. We get results, guys, and that's what it's all about. So I wanted to share that with you real quick. I'm going to get back to our PowerPoint here and go ahead and let me pull this up real quick. We're going to talk about EquityMAX. Guys, EquityMAX is our debt elimination program. Now, this is a debt roll-down program, and I'm going to explain to you how it works. With our system, you're able to plug all of your debts into it, your mortgage, your car loans, your credit cards, your personal loans, your student loans. Every debt you have can be plugged into our EquityMAX system. And we're going to give you a monthly plan of action to help you pay off all of those debts, typically in about a third to half of the time or even less, without you having to spend one dime more than what you're spending right now. Now, everybody always says, well, how do I pay it off quicker if I don't spend any more than what I'm spending right now? The way it works is you don't want to continue accumulating more debt. Doesn't mean you're not going to buy a new car and you need to substitute that in. But this plan is designed to where once one of your debts is paid off, the money that was going towards that debt is automatically applied with our system, it applies it to one or more of your remaining debts to maximize acceleration. Now, what does that mean? Okay, well, what that means is we want to make sure that that money, our system allocates that money in the best spot to make sure that you are maximizing interest savings and you are reducing your time in debt as fast as possible without you having to do any algorithms or complicated math, any of that stuff. It's extremely user-friendly. If you are not using this program, and I'm going to have Gerald Parker, hopefully he's on here, so it's somebody texting because I'm going to go to him in a minute. I want him to just share with you in just a second what these two programs, he's used every program, and you guys have heard his story, but what these two programs, the impact they've had for him, and so, because it's powerful. But in the process of doing this, guys, it's going to help you lower your debt-to-income ratios. It's going to help you reduce the amount of interest that you're paying on your debts. You're going to pay less interest by getting out of debt faster. Plus, our plan of action, our analysis, you're going to know the exact day, month, and year that you're going to be debt-free. And we go one step further by showing you how once those debts are paid off, how long, if you took that money and started saving or investing it at a 3, 6, or 12% annual rate of return, how long it would take you to accumulate $1 million in the bank. Now, I want you to think about that. A debt-free cash millionaire. You're debt-free. You have no debts, and you have $1 million in cash in the bank. I want you to, you know what, let's have a moment of silence. Just think about that. Think about what it would be like to have absolutely no debt and $1 million in the bank. Man, I don't know what you guys are thinking, but I can tell you, I've been there. I know what it feels like to be in debt. I know what it feels like to be out of debt. And there is nothing better than knowing you have a ton of money in the bank and no debt, and you get to live the lifestyle that you want. I promise you, this program, we don't give it enough credit because most people don't want to talk about debt. They don't. But guys, this is a very, very powerful program. And I'm going to give you some examples here real quick. Let's take a look at the average American. Matter of fact, I'm going to show you this, but let's go to an example. Let me give you a real example here. And I'm going to go to what I refer to as our Ken and Sandy example of how this program works. So once you plug in all of your debts into our EquityMAX debt elimination system, which to do that, you're going to need the balance on the debt, you're going to need the interest rates that you're paying, and the monthly payment that you're paying, the minimum monthly payment that you have to pay on that debt every single month. You're going to need to know those things before you sit down and you start EquityMAX. Get all of those things together so that when you enter them in, you can enter them all at once, and immediately, once you submit those debts, you're going to get an analysis. It's going to look similar to this. It takes up the full page on our website, so you'll get to see it, but it's got exactly the same wording and messaging that you're going to see here. But let's look at Ken and Sandy Consumer. Ken and Sandy, they have $209,000 in debt on their credit plans, $209,731.04. They're going to have the same amount of debt on our EquityMAX plan. Same debt on their creditor's plan, same debt on our plan. They also have the same monthly payment, or they have a $3,185 monthly payment on their creditor's plan. They've got the same monthly payment on our plan, okay? Now, with that, by following our plan, Ken and Sandy on their creditor's plan would have been in debt for 29 years and 0 months. By following our plan, same debt, same monthly payment, we're going to have them out of debt in 7 years and 11 months. On their creditor's plan, they would have paid $233,511.96 in interest. On our plan, they're only going to pay $73,515.80 in interest. Guys, that is a savings of almost $160,000 in interest alone. Not to mention, we reduce their time in debt, okay? Reduce their time in debt 21 years and 1 month sooner than their creditor's plan. 21 years and 1 month sooner than their creditors plan. Now, after they've done that, again, it shows you here. If Ken and Sandy had stayed on their creditors plan in July of 2016, and this is a little bit older, you'll have to look. It started May 2015, all right? But on their creditors plan in July of 2016, they would have they would still owe $127,880. On our plan, they're going to be debt-free with $50,000 cash in the bank. Go another year. They're still owing almost $125,000 on their creditors plan. On our plan, they're debt-free. They have $100,000 in the bank. Go to March 2027, all right, which is literally, their debt-free date is May of 2015. 12 years after that, their creditors plan, they would still be $81,000 in debt. On our plan, they're debt-free with $1 million in cash in the bank. Now, it also breaks it down, and I'm not going to go into a bunch of detail. You can see this. Matter of fact, I'm not going to give you all of it because I want you to go submit your debt-free DFL worksheet, we have a DFL worksheet, which stands for a debt-free lifestyle worksheet. I want you to complete that and go click on Get Started under EquityMAX. I'll show you that in just a second. Plug your debts in. Watch what this thing can do for you. You're going to be amazed. All right. It also breaks it down to each individual creditor, how long it's going to take. Like your mortgage went from 29 years, the amount of interest you were going to pay down to 7 years, 11 months, and 61,000, or the amount of interest you'll pay on our plan. So it's got the two different plans. Your creditor's plan on this table, your EquityMAX plan, the difference on this side. So, guys, very, very, very powerful program. And for people that utilize it, again, I'm going to say this. There are a lot of programs out there. The John Commuta courses, the Dave Ramsey Financial Peace Universities, those are all phenomenal courses. They're great. But the reality is we wanted to create a system to where you didn't have to get educated and go do it on your own. We wanted to be able to do it for you, and you gain an education through the process, okay? Let us do the work for you, all right? You have these tools available to you. Take advantage of them. They're powerful. Now, with that, let's go to our back office real quick, and then because I'm going to come back to Ndamo in just a second because I'm going to get his feedback on something. But I'm going to get out of this real quick.
Well,
and then
I know you wanted to call on Gerald. We have him here.
Yeah. Hey, Gerald, listen, if you would, I just went over CreditMAX and EquityMAX. Obviously, you just heard it. But just tell everybody what those two programs alone have done for you, okay, what we've been able to accomplish for you. If you could, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Ron. I'll be glad to. Listen, CreditMAX alone, credit score increase of 128 points. Now, as a result of my credit scores increasing, I've got a reduction in my insurance premium on my home and my automobile by $100 a month. That's additional cash flow. Now, the EquityMAX program, I drug into that program with me 15 years worth of remaining debt. I'm on track right now to pay that debt off in 6.5 years, and that includes a small balance on a mortgage. Now, what's more impressive is the $52,000 in interest that I saved that I otherwise would have paid to my creditors. This thing works, and it works in a big way.
Hey, Gerald, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. And guys, listen, Gerald is just one of the hundreds of people that are experiencing that. So take advantage of what you have. Now, to take advantage of what you have, let's take a look. This is your Financial Edge portal. Most of you are familiar with this. If you're a customer or a consultant with a membership, you've seen this, okay? And there are a few things I'm going to tell you. We've changed some stuff. We now have a My Account button up here, which takes you to where you can update password, billing, all those things. I'm not going to go into great detail on this because we're running here at the bottom of the hour. But I'm going to touch on a few things. CreditMAX, EquityMAX. Guys, we have how-to instructions right here that walk you through the process of getting enrolled, how to update your EquityMAX, all those things. But here's what I'm going to tell you. When you click on Enroll Now, so if you click on Enroll Now under CreditMAX, you're going to see we have a 4-step enrollment process. First step, you're going to listen to a consultation, all right, and it automatically starts playing. It's about 5 minutes long, it's well worth listening to, guys, because it will give you a lot of information that you're going to need through the process that will help you understand what we're doing and then also what you'll be doing. Then you're going to complete your enrollment in step 2. This is where when you hit the continue button down here, it's going to take you to where you're going to be able to enter in your Social Security number and your date of birth. And you're also going to be able to enter in your spouse, their name, their Social Security number, date of birth. You'll be able to update your address if you need to from there. Make sure all the information is correct. Then you're going to click on and agree to our terms and conditions, which includes your LPOA, as well as a copy of your rights under state and federal law, as well as our agreement, everything. You're just going to click on that link, read that information, and then turn around and hit continue to step 3 and step 4. Step 3, you're going to order your reports, either through annualcreditreport.com for free, or you're going to enroll for MWR Smart Credit, and you're going to be able to get all 3 bureaus with your scores, monitoring, real-time report updates, all those things. Once you get those reports, you download them to your computer, and then you're going to upload them into our system. Now, let me show you where you're going to upload them. We'll go back to the home page. Once you get your reports, you're going to click on this little link that says Customer Portal and Uploads, which is also the same as your Member Access button down here, okay, this button here. So if I click on Customer Portal and Uploads, you'll be able to see that you have a CreditMAX Customer Portal. You will be able to choose the file from your computer. You see how it's listed here. I can go to wherever it's saved on my computer, my report, click on it, hit open, boom, and then it'll populate it. Then I'll hit this upload button, and then you will have a table down here that shows the reports that you uploaded. Very important, all file names should consist of only letters and numbers to avoid upload errors. Do not have dashes and colons and semicolons and commas and asterisks or any of those things. Just make sure that you name your credit reports with letters and numbers only. That'll allow you to be able to upload it. We get a lot of calls, a lot of chats saying, hey, I can't upload my report. And it's because this line wasn't red. And we'll actually put that in red so it's a little bit more familiar. You can also go here and click on this link at the bottom, this little box. Click here to get MWR Smart Credit today from here. But what I want you to know is when the table displays here, you will be able to see what the status column says. If it says new, it means your upload has been received. So we've got it. When it says in process, it means your upload has been assigned to a consultant and is being reviewed or processed. When it says completed, your upload has been reviewed and or any disputes have been processed and mailed to the credit reporting agencies. If it says info needed, it'll say please review your messages. We need additional information to complete your processing for this upload. And then update profile. If it says that, it means update your profile. And after you enroll, this Enroll Now button will eventually, hopefully in the next few days, actually change. And it'll say Update Profile, but you can also go here. For your CreditMAX profile, under Services, you'll see CreditMAX, then you'll see CreditMAX Profile. You can actually update your profile right here, save it. We will get that information, and you will be good to go. That happens rarely. Most of you do a great job of entering in the correct information the first time, but that's how that works. So check out these links. You can't break anything, so just check it out. Our Credit Rebuilding Center. You can get started with Rent Center, where you can click here to get started with Rent Track. Our revolving credit, you can actually obtain an Open Sky credit card. That's the best card we found to help people establish or reestablish a revolving line of credit. Then we have ShopEZ, which is a company that has over 200,000 items to choose from, not at exorbitant prices, but that you can actually purchase to establish a installment line of credit reports to your credit report, all 3 bureaus. And so that's a great way to establish an installment line of credit. So these are just a few things, guys. CreditMAX, and then I'm going to go back to the home page. Getting started with EquityMAX is easy. You click on Get Started. and it's going to take you to where it says, please verify the information below is correct. You're going to hit that, and then you're going to start entering in your debts. It says, do you have any mortgage to input? I'm going to select yes, and then hit next. Then it's going to ask these questions. Creditor number 1, complete the following information about this creditor: creditor type, creditor name, current balance, current interest rate. And you'll just click next. After you're done filling that stuff out, it'll take you to where you can enter your next creditor. This is a very, very simple process. It's detailed, so you don't, it's self-explanatory, I guess you would say, but you also have instructions if you need that. Now, guys, with that, I'm going to go back here real quick. Hopefully I can move this screen to where I can do that. But let's go back to the home page. But, guys, that's CreditMAX and EquityMAX. I know we went about 8 minutes over tonight, but listen. One more thing, and I've got to point this out. When we talk about debt, okay, we also have a debt resolution center. We have tax debt relief. Some of you may be struggling from past due taxes, all right? Plug into that program. That's headed up by Terrence Hawkins, who is an enrolled agent with the IRS. Him and his staff are able to help you with penalty abatements, with offer and compromise, with fresh start programs. If they can't get your debt or your tax debt the lowest possible, nobody can. So they are phenomenal at what they do, and all of these services are at a reduced fee for MWR Financial or Financial Edge members. Literally, they do it at a flat rate instead of a percentage, which is about a third of what the industry charges for tax debt relief. That is huge. We also have, debt settlement and debt validation services. If you have bad unsecured debts that you want to get settled or you want to try to eliminate altogether, schedule a debt settlement validation consultation. That is headed up by Malcolm Giles, who is, again, one of the best in the industry. Student loan debt. Guys, I'm going to say one thing about student loan debt. And credit counseling, debt counseling, those things are there. Check them out. But I want to say something about student loan debt. We talk a lot about the system and the challenges that the system causes, okay? I'm going to give you a quick scenario of what our system is doing from an early age for our children. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it this way. One, I am all for education. I am absolutely a believer in education, but especially if you want to be a doctor or a lawyer, or you want to be a nurse, or you're helping society with what you're an engineer, whatever you want to be, that you need to get a degree for, and you're passionate about that, I'm all for education. But I'm going to tell you, I'm not for our student loan program, and I'll tell you why I'm not for it. Okay, one, there's a large percentage of kids that are getting out of high school that are going into college, and they're accumulating debt as soon as they get out of high school. They're already entering into that credit and banking system, that debt system, okay? And I'm going to tell you this, and I mean this. What you do with your children or any of you or the children you know, whatever it is your business. But I would tell you that getting a child into debt at the age of 17, to me, is not a good idea. And I'm going to tell you why, okay? There are only 2 people on the planet that will lend $100,000 to a 17-year-old. Only 2 people. One of them is a loan shark. Okay? The other one is Sally Mae, our student loan program, okay? And it doesn't make sense to me that a 17-year-old should be responsible for $100,000 worth of debt, to where as soon as they get out of college, majority of them, literally, in this country, we change jobs 14 times over the course of our lifetime. That's the average, 14 times over the course of our lifetime. 70% of the people that have, almost 70%, you can look up the statistics yourself. I think it's like 68.2 or something like that. But over 68.2% or whatever it is, you can look it up. I may be a little off, but it's the majority of people that obtain a college degree end up getting an occupation that does not require that degree. And so, but they still have that debt. And there's one thing I want you to understand about student loan debt over any other debt. It will follow you till the day you die. It cannot be included in bankruptcy. You cannot get away from student loan debt. And once you are in student loan debt, you have no choice but to pay it. They can attach your Social Security. They can do all kinds of things. I'm not a big fan of people going into debt, especially young people, going into debt at such an early age. I would prefer to see, and I don't know what if you're capable of helping your child through college, I think that's wonderful. I would prefer to see people have their children work their way through college. And I know that's tough. But I'm telling you, or earn it, or get a grant or something, a scholarship of some type, whatever it is, work their way through high school without having to go into debt. Okay, so I just wanted to share that, guys. I'm going to kind of leave it with that tonight. Again, I know this went a little bit longer. I hope you can see how passionate we are about what we're doing. And Damo, thank you so much for the success system and training that you did earlier. Guys, Gerald, thank you for intros and also your testimony. And guys, thank each of you for all the work that you're doing out there to just literally explode this company all across the country. We're making a difference, and it's because of each of you, and I can't tell you how appreciative I am that you have chosen to endorse us and share this message with other people. So with that, guys, I want to say good night. For now, I'm going to open it up, and if you guys want to, we'll all say good night.
Thanks, Brian.
All right, guys. Good night.
Thank you.
Thank you. Great night.
3 millionaires.
Thank you, Brian.
Oh, man.
All right. You're welcome, guys. Have a great night. Have a great rest of the week.
Around the corner.
How they can help you out.